So what's up, YouTube? How are we doing? It's been a long time here. I just decided to drop this real quick. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about liquidity, market structure, and entries. Basically, we've done this before, but this is just like uh, actually like a series. I'm going to be running this over and over again with different trades, different setup, till we are able to grab how we can easily catch this nice strategy trading with liquidity and with the market structure. It's actually very, very easy if you can be able to just listen up as I explain to you and how you can build up this higher time frame story to a lower time frame and get all of those nice trade using lower time frame entries, market structure, and liquidity. So let's get started. And normally, before we start, let's quickly do some theory. So we've done this before. It's not a new thing. You know how the market moves creates liquidity as it moves. External liquidity taken out. Enterprise take the external liquidity, like we said, it's coming back for internal liquidity, because when price is going up, it doesn't just move straight up, it goes upward with a structure, isn't it? Yes, it goes upward, creating higher highs and higher lows, regardless of the time frame. When price is going up, it does that by creating structures along its movement. For instance, just like this guy. And before we had this break of structure here, we see our price went up with a nice order flow. And what is the aim of that order flow? The aim of that order flow is to cause this break of structure here. That's the aim of that order flow. So at this particular swing leg, you see we have several lows here, which are internal lows. Okay, maybe I should just draw something more better. Okay, something like this. Okay. All right, isn't it? And we have this break of structure here, and this is the external break of structure, or the higher time frame break of structure, isn't it? Yes. You see when price. Okay, let's do something like this. And yes, you see the aim of price is to do going up. In fact, the price action here is what bullish, and the order flow is what bullish. And aside those other flow, or aside of this higher time frame structure, we know the higher time frame is made up of the lower time frame. Every structure we see on the higher time frame was a formation of the collective move in the lower time frame. So for us to have a particular swing leg in the higher time frame, it will be built up by the lower time frame. Hope you get the story now. For us to have a run on the higher time frame like this, we know we are going to have some lower time frame bullish movement like this to have that nice run on the higher time frame, isn't it? Yeah, so simple stuff, easy to grab. So just follow me as we do what we are doing right now. Yeah, so coming. Maybe I should just use this tool instead. Where is this guy? All right, yeah, this is it. Okay. All right, so we have this nice bearish move. You see, we have all of this pullback taking out the internal structure, and as it's doing that, with a structure. And you see we have price going all the way up, taking external structure and stuff like that. Hope you see that. Okay. This is actually how the market moves. Going forward, those liquidity, external liquidity, internal liquidity, and some of those other liquidity concepts that we all know, isn't it? Yeah, so this is what I'm trying to explain here. When we have this break of structure, you see we have this nice internal structure that was playing out, and the aim of that internal structure was to achieve this external break of structure, because the overall trend is bullish. So when we are in a bullish trend, we expect higher highs and higher lows to keep forming as price continues to go up until it doesn't, until we have a trend change. That's what we want to anticipate: higher highs and higher lows. And this is what we keep having here. So you see, at this point, we see how the internal structure, or the lower time frame structure, this is going to be the lower time frame structure, which is the internal structure, is clearly bullish. And that bullishness is to achieve what something, the higher time frame structure, isn't it? Yes. And its aim is to what cause a break of structure here. And you see, it was very, very bullish along the line. And this is why we have to be careful when we see the structure forming after price takes what out the external high, which is what the higher time frame high, or we have that higher time frame break of structure. The thing is, and I don't even want to say it in terms of liquidity. After price takes out what the external liquidity, what price is coming for next is what the internal liquidity. And our anticipation is to see every of this internal structure or the internal lows which has been formed during the price movement of the internal range. We want to see those guys get taken out. That's we want to see price takes out for the internal liquidity, isn't it? So the thing is, liquidity is taken on both sides, the buy side liquidity and what the sell side liquidity. Hope you grab. So that's what we are saying. So after price takes out the external liquidity, next thing that we anticipate and is what is to get what an internal what liquidity grab, isn't it? Yes, at least price should take at least one of those internal liquidity to give us the sign that yes, we have had a confirmed pullback and price is about to go up or price ready to go up since price has taken what liquidity. And one thing we should keep in mind is we don't know how deep the pullback is going to be. I don't know. Nobody knows. The thing is, we just follow everything what based on what market structure. I'm going to show you how when we get into the practical session of what we are doing now. So the thing is, we follow every setup with what liquidity and structure. So once price grab liquidity, we can start to what look for our entries. Same thing here. Once price grab what the external liquidity, we can look to trade to the downside. Once price grab the internal liquidity, we can look to trade to the upside. It depends on what the structure is presenting to us. For instance, let's say after getting what this liquidity grab here, while all of this price movement is happening, there are also internal structures that are formed along with what this price movement. And once we see a change of character after the liquidity grab, this is a clear sign that yes, we are about to push higher. Then we wait for price to give us that pullback. Then we trade higher, and our aim is to this with external liquidity. And that's how it goes. And that's how we can follow everything up with what structure and the rest of that. Hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Hope you understand. Yeah, it's very, very important that you understand. So quick recap. Like we said, break of structure, price will always come forward, liquidity, and we want to see price takes out what the most recent low or the internal liquidity or the most recent low on that particular swing leg to confirm what the pullback and to give us a sign that yes, we can start looking for buys. And like I said earlier, we don't know how deep the pullback is going to be, so we follow and anticipate everything what with the structure. Just like we see in this case, we see our price grab what the liquidity here and also grab the liquidity here. You see all of this push to the downside, which is giving us a pullback. You see our price grab this liquidity here, mitigate something here before pushing back down to mitigate something here before pushing back up. So that's how it just keep happening. Liquidity building along the way. You see we have what this low here as our most recent low. We see our next anticipation to see price come back and take out this low. And during this movement, we want to see some internal structure forming as price is coming down to take out what this movement, this internal low here rather, which is what the internal liquidity. And once price takes out this internal liquidity, we can start to look for buys, isn't it? Yes. We want to get that confirmation when we see a structure shift, a change of character to the upside, aligning with what that external structure, because the external structure is bullish. We're waiting for that internal structure to switch bullish, giving us that perfect alignment across the internal structure and the external structure, giving us that high probability trade, and we can actually look for longs here targeting what the external liquidity, and that's how it's done. So simple strategy, just follow the simple stuff, market structure, liquidity, and the rest of that. So let's dive in on what we have here now. Oh, sorry about that. All right, so let me clear up this one here and let's go on practical stuff. All right, so where's my chart? Boom, nice one. So you see this on USDJPY, and as you can see, we're on the 15 minutes time frame. It's very, very clear that price is very, very bullish. In this case, we are pushing to the downside heavily, and we want to look forward selling what opportunities since price is trading to the downside, isn't it? Yeah, simple stuff. Don't need to complicate things for yourself. Yeah. So our aim now is to look for sales. And you see, same thing, marking out what the structure, like seeing what is in front of us right now. I want to see, okay, now, what are we going to do here now? Looking at the market structure, are we, let's view the story and how we can map out those structure rightly, then look at those liquidity points, and then shift to a lower time framework for our entries. So look at here now. You see, let's take it out from here. You see, we have what this break of structure here. It's a clean break of structure. And remember, we said price will take what, we're not taking out the external liquidity. We want to see price takes what, every those internal liquidity. You see how price grab this internal liquidity, and after this price grabs internal liquidity, can actually start to look for sales. But like I said earlier, we don't actually know how deep pullback is going to be, but we want to follow everything with what the market structure, isn't it? Yes, simple stuff. The market structure is a language that is communicating to you. You have to listen to it to be able to follow up. Yeah, so that's just it basically. The market structure, nice language you have to follow if you want to trade with the trend. You have to follow what the market structure. So you see our price grab this liquidity here, the internal liquidity. That's the most recent low. This is not the most recent low because this low, this particular push you are seeing here is actually still part of what this push to the upside. So this is just like I said, it will keep forming structure to the upside. When price was actually coming to take out this low, you see we have many internal structures here. We have this, we have this. You see, we have what this external break of structure. So now this is getting our swing low. Now this becomes what our swing low, because this is the lowest low that led to what this particular break of structure here. So every other low becomes what the internal structure, which is what liquidity point. So price is free to take out all of this low, and we are still what bullish. But once price comes and takes out this low, we become what bearish. Well, now we are what bullish, because you see what price did was actually to take out what the internal liquidity. And like I said earlier, once price takes out the internal liquidity, we can start to look for what sells, isn't it? Yes. And if you check here very well, you see after price would grab this liquidity, you see we kind of have what something like a change of character here. But if you look carefully, this is not actually a change of character. This is actually a pullback after we had okay, actually after we had this break of structure here, because you see after this break of structure, we have been having some internal structure to the downside here. Just like as you can see what I'm marking, we have some of this internal structure to the downside. And remember, we say for us to confirm our pullback, we have to see price take out the most recent low. That means we have not really gotten the pullback after this particular break of structure here. We have not really gotten a pullback, because we just see this nice order flow keep pushing to the downside. And like we said, for us to confirm our pullback, we want to see price takes out the most recent low, taking out the internal liquidity after taking the external liquidity. And that's what happened here. Price takes out this internal liquidity, then we have the continuation to the downside. So you see how you could have played safe, fooling the market structure and having that knowledge of the market structure. Even though so many people would think, okay, now we have the change of character, price takes out liquidity, we have the change of character here, and we'll be looking for buying opportunities here. And you see, we have been stopped out. Very, very nice stopping out here. Yeah, the markets can be so annoying sometimes that way. So that's why it's very, very good not to be ignorant and have some knowledge. Market structure, nice one. Like I said, it's what the nice language you can follow here, because that's what the market speaks. So you see, we have price continue to push down, and you see we also have this break of structure here, isn't it? And we have this pullback that took out this internal structure here. Maybe I should zoom into the chart so we can see that clearly. Okay. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. So you see, when price was pushing to the downside there, we see it was coming down with that nice order flow. You see, we have this push, all of this minor pullback. It go to the lower time frame, like 1 minute, 3 minutes. You see, this is actually a decent pullback in those lower time frame. And you see, price came all the way up, take out the internal liquidity. We have this nice change of character here. You see the little pullback that mitigated something here before this push to the downside as well. You see all about liquidity and the market structure, isn't it? And you see our price push back down to mitigate this nice one here, which had this nice fair value gap and stuff like that. So you see we have this nice mitigation. And After the nice mitigation, okay, maybe I should just clear out the chat. Becoming too messy. Okay. Hope you're understanding me, bro. Okay. So you see, after we have this mitigation, you see, we already confirmed this high as our swing high because what you see, we had what price taking out the liquidity having what this decent pullback. So this becomes a decent pullback, and we have what is break of structure. You see the pullback that mitigated something here before this push to the downside. So this becomes a swing high in the internal structure. That's what I mean. And price already mitigated what our nice demand zone. And you see we have what this nice change of character here. And this is telling us that now price, the structure has aligned with what the higher time frame structure, because the internal structure has aligned with what the external structure, because the external structure is what very, very bullish. We have what this break of structure here, and all of this down movement was actually what a pullback to mitigate this guy here, isn't it? Yes, nice pullback to mitigate that guy. And remember, we said we want to follow everything with the structure, and we see how price came all along what to clear out all of this liquidity. And if you look here, we can also spot what this trend line liquidity here that price also came for. So you see, I will keep repeating it. It's all a game of what liquidity. So I hope by now you have heard me more than 5 times talking about liquidity, and stuff like that. That's because I really, really want you to understand this. So you see, we have this change of character, and next thing that we anticipate is what a pullback after a break of structure. And remember, we said after the break of structure, every other internal structure, after price taking out the external liquidity, the next thing price will come for is what the internal liquidity. Every other internal structure becomes liquidity point. And the best thing to do here is to identify your swing low so that you don't mark out the wrong low as a swing low. And what is a swing low? The swing low is the what lowest low that led to what the break of structure. And this is what the lowest low here that led to what the break of structure. So price permitted to take out every other low within this range, but maintain what this particular low here. Once price takes out this particular low here, then we know we are clearly what bearish. You understand? That means price has the intention of going down, 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 and to keep going down, down, down. Yeah. So hope you understand that. And yeah, so you see, after the change of character, you see how price came forward, all of this internet structure. You see price cleared out the liquidity here, cleared out the liquidity here, then came to mitigate something here. You see, we have this clear mitigation, and you see how price actually, I think I posted this setup on my Telegram channel. Yeah, kind of familiar with what this setup. Yeah. I posted something like this on my Telegram channel, and we actually made money from this particular trade. Yeah, I can remember. And yes, I can remember we actually made something from what this particular trade. Yeah. It's so familiar. Those in my Telegram channel can relate to that. Yes, so I remember because of this guy, because I saw this inducement here. See what this nice inducement. This guy was not mitigated. Look carefully. We didn't get a mitigation, so it was still a valid zone. Why is it very wrong? Cleared out previous candle low, and we see our price cleared out all of this liquidity. Nice zone to trade off of. Nice profit. You see our price keep mitigate this guy and just keep blasting to the upside. So it's simple, guys. Liquidity structure. Wow, what am I doing? Liquidity and what structure, nice strategy you can use on SMC. So nice one. So let's keep going and see how the next our aim is to what target what the swing high, and you see we actually had what that break of structure here also, isn't it? Yes, nice break of structure. Okay, yeah. So we have what this break of structure. And remember, after a break of structure, we anticipate what a pullback. And for us to have a decent pullback, we want to see price takes out the most recent low. And as you can see, in this case, we didn't only have a pullback, we also had what a change of character. So we can clearly see we are now what bearish, isn't it? Yes. So we have price come and take out what this strong swing low. Now we can clearly see what that's what we are now bearish on this guy. So nice change of character. And yes, so let's keep building the story. So after we got the change of character here, price taking out was this strong low. This low is supposed to be a respected low because it did its job, caused a break of structure, but unfortunately, price wants to go down. That's why that low was taken out. So it's not so we have what we have from here. We have what this change of character, and we anticipate what a pullback after a change of character. And remember, I keep saying this: first to have what that pullback, price to take out what the most recent highs for us to what get a pullback. And we actually had that happen here. See how price takes out what this most recent highs, isn't it? Yeah, nice liquidity grab. And yes, you see we had what this break of structure here. We see all of this pullback, and you see how price was coming down with what this nice bearish order flow, and the aim was to what take out what this external low. I mean, which is what the external liquidity, and you see how price was just pushing to the downside, pushing to the downside. But unfortunately, the intention of price is to what pull back, and we see all of this push to the upside, take out what this liquidity here, and we have what the pullback, and yeah, we can start looking for sales, isn't it? Yes, after price taking out what the liquidity, next thing to do, we can actually start looking for sales to the downside, isn't it? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, let me just clear this. Oh yeah, so after price taking out the liquidity, you see while price was also moving to the upside, you see how price cleared with all of this nice trend, and this is what I call a nice setup, because yeah, very, very nice setup. Very, very obvious that yeah, it's a nice setup, because we see how price taking out the liquidity on the buy side. Price also created what the sell side liquidity, which is nice stuff to look out for, because we actually know price is going to clear all of this liquidity, and more so when we are actually in a downtrend. So it's actually nice setup. So you see how price came down, plus through, and we could have actually taken this trade based on the single candle mitigation or lower time frame entry on the 1 minute time frame. I'm very sure, pretty sure that there was an opportunity here. You see, after price taking out the liquidity, we have the candle closure inside the range. We can actually look for, we can actually take the sell here after price close inside what the range, isn't it? Yes, which would have been what a nice trade, isn't it? Yes, so targeting what the low. And if you're not comfortable trading from that particular point, you can actually wait for what the pullback. There are a lot of opportunities what in the market. There's no need and there's no point of rushing. So let's continue. So next thing here, we had what a break of structure here, and same setup, keep repeating itself. You see, first of all, price created what internal structure. You see how we had what this break of structure here, which is actually what creating what liquidity for this guy here. You see how price created this liquidity here. You see what this break of structure, it seems as what a change of character, but this is actually price clearing what this liquidity, which is giving us that we have what a valid pullback. Remember, for us to have a valid pullback, price must clear what the liquidity, isn't it? Yes. So we see our price cleared what the liquidity, price cleared what the liquidity here. All right, so we see our price cleared what the liquidity here, and you see all of this push to the downside, and we also have what this break of structure. So price also, we also had what this break of structure, and look at this carefully, guys. You see, you might think, okay, price takes out what this liquidity, and we are expecting a pull. It's a pullback. Yes, this is a pullback, but this is a pullback for what this particular range. You see, as price is coming down, we have what all of this bearish order flow to the downside, which also has their structure, and the same thing happening what inside what the internal structure. So you don't have to mix that up or get yourself confused, because if you look at this carefully, you see we had what this break of structure here, this minor break of structure here. You see our price takes for the internal structure, liquidity, mitigated something here before pushing back down to have what this break of structure. And as price had this break of structure, we also see our price was pushing down with what all of these internal structures. You see, after the break of structure, we anticipate this particular break of structure here. We also anticipate what a pullback, and that pullback is to do what clear what all of this internal structure liquidity before pushing back down. And that was what actually happened here. Price cleared what all of this internal structure and mitigated something here before pushing back down to cause what this break of structure. But remember, we have what the swing break of structure, which we haven't gotten a decent pullback for yet. So this guy becomes what major swing internal structure. Do you understand that statement? Our major swing internal structure, because this guy becomes our what our swing structure in the internal structure. Wow, how do I put this now? Well, hope you understand, bro. So you see, our next target now is our next liquidity target is this guy here. So we want to see price clear out this liquidity before pushing back to the downside. Because now, if you look at this carefully, this was first of all our swing high. We had was this break of structure, price pull back, take out what this external liquidity. We have the push to the downside again, take take what we had this break of structure, price came back, take out this external liquidity. Then we have this push to the downside. After taking out the external liquidity, you have this push to the downside, there's this break of structure, then price pull back, taking all this external liquidity, then push to the break to the downside. So this guy becomes what our internal structure. So this is our swing structure here. This one over here, this one over here, this one over here. So this becomes for the internal structure in the range. Do you understand that? Yeah, I'm sure you understand now. So let's move on. So that guy there, because this guy here, wow, what's happening? Okay. So, wow, wow, wow. Sorry. Uh, actually, one. Okay. Good to go now. So, see, this guy becomes the internal structure that we anticipate for price to take out. So, once price takes out the internal structure, we start to look forward selling opportunities, isn't it? Yes. Because after price takes out the external liquidity, next liquidity target is what? The internal what liquidity. And you see, market will always do that. See how price came out, take out all the internal liquidity here. Very obvious here. You see how price cleared with internal liquidity. And remember, we said after price cleared the internal liquidity, we can actually look for sales. And the thing we see, we don't actually know how deep the pullback is going to be. So we want to follow, like I said, we want to follow everything what based on what the structure, isn't it? Yes, we want to follow everything based on what the structure. And you see, after price takes what the external liquidity, the internal liquidity rather, we see also this is what a nice setup like I described earlier. You see, price actually creating what all of this trend and liquidity at it was moving back down. So telling us that yeah, there's liquidity here and price actually going to come for that liquidity as well, isn't it? Yes, yes, yes. So you see how price takes out what this liquidity here, liquidity resting above this area as well, and you see how price came back forward. But this low here, taking out the low, but you see, we after price cleared this liquidity, we see price mitigated this demand range. That's a bad line. Let me pick a good line. Okay, yeah. If you actually go to the 45 minutes time frame, you see that this is actually what a nice supply zone board. In the 15 minutes time frame, is giving us a nice supply range. And you see our price mitigated with the supply range, and we can actually look for what? Actually look for sell if we jump to the lower time frame, like let's say the 3 minutes time frame or like 1 minute time frame. Okay, let's check that out. Okay, where is it? Oh, let's go to the 1 minute time frame so we can see things clearly, isn't it? Yes, yes, yes. So here we are on the 1 minute time frame, 1 minute structure, 1 minute order flow, and same thing happening in the 1 minute time frame. Like the way I do it, I treat the lower time frame just the way I treat what the higher time frame. So that's it. So you see how when price mitigate this the supply range. Okay, let's see maybe the 1 minute time frame we actually got something that was clearly mitigated apart from that supply range in the 15 minute time frame. Okay, there's no need doing that. Let's just push forward. Okay, so you see, nice order flow to the upside. You see, we had what this break of structure to the upside here, isn't it? Yes, nice break of structure to the upside, and after break of structure, we anticipate a pullback, and for us to get that pullback, one of the most recent lows should go, which we had this low go here, which is a change of character. You see our price pullback mitigated what this week here, which took out all the liquidity here. See, cleared out the liquidity resting above this highs, and we have this push to downside, so it becomes what a nice zone to look off of. So you see how price mitigated this zone, and this could have been our first what entry here. So first entry here, then to be very logical, at least a 10 pip stop, 5 pip stop, depending on the risk that you can absorb personally. And this should actually be what our what break even and taking off partials, at least 40% out of the trade, so that you have something for yourself in case of you get hit on a break even and stuff like that. So you see, to this level, we got about 21 pips. Nice, 1 to 2 weeks to reward. And targeting what the M15 low. Let's see what we got. Okay, let me actually zoom in. Still a long way down, down, down there. Whoa. Wow, 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 wow. That's why I love the M1 entry. I really, really love the M1 entry. This was what this crazy nice risk to reward, and yeah, crazy risk to reward. And I kept getting all of those re-entries. You see, down to the M15 low. See, that's about 247, okay, 242 pips with a 1 to 23 risks to reward. So you see, very, very crazy. Getting what affects entry up of that high is there. And if we zoom in for more potential entries, you will see that we would have gotten more potential entries after price taking what the M1 swing low. Remember, like I said I treat the M1 time frame just like the way I treat what the higher time frame. So you see, we had what this break of structure, that is break of structure here. That's a change of character, and after a change of character, you see, we also anticipate a pullback. And remember what we said, price take out what the most recent low, the most recent high in this case, and you see, price took out what this internal structure, and you see how price indicated something here. It could have been what potential what entry for you. You see, after price cleared what the liquidity, the internal liquidity, you see all of this liquidity taken out, and you see how price mitigated this guy, then blast to the downside, taking what this guy as well. So you see that could have been what another plus position running deep profit. Same thing happened here. Look at it, guys. We see how price will take out all of this internal liquidity. You see how price came for this guy, mitigated this guy before pushing back down. You have them having what all of this break of structure, and all of this stuff just keep repeating itself. So that's to show you on the entry on the particular stuff we're talking about. So let's continue. Okay, back to the 15 minutes time frame. Okay, so hope you get that all about entry stuff. Yeah, hope you get that. Good. So let's move on. Clear all of this stuff. I hate seeing my chat messy. Okay, so after all of this, look at this carefully, guys. It's actually on the 15 minutes time frame. Nice one. You see, we had what price. This is actually not a break of structure, though. But we see how price came on week what this low, taking what the liquidity on the external structure. But this is not actually a break of structure. This is actually what price was taking out the liquidity, resting below these lows. And we see how price made its way to the upside, clearing what the external liquidity. You have what price taking out what the external liquidity, and this is actually price taking what the Asian high liquidity. So if you put that up, you see price took out what the Asian high liquidity, which is actually at this point. See price take out the liquidity there, and that's actually telling us okay, the price about to what move to the downside after price take what the liquidity on the buy side. The next target is what the liquidity was on the sell side. So after price taking out the liquidity resting above the Asian high, the next liquidity point was the Asia was low, isn't it? Yes, that's it. So that's what the idea behind what this trade setup that actually was taking place here. So you see, after that price taking out the liquidity, next thing we want to jump to is what the lower time frame, and what if we what get what a structure shift after taking what the liquidity. Remember, I said the market structure is our guide. Once price takes out the liquidity, we want to see what the structure shift, giving us that alignment to what with the external structure, telling us okay now the price is about to shift to the downside, and that's when we can what build confidence to what take the trade, isn't it? Yes. So if we move down to like let's say the 3 minutes, or let's even say the 1 minute time frame. Okay, here we are in the 1 minute time frame. We can see clearly after price taking out what the external liquidity, we see we had what this what nice change of character, isn't it? Yeah, very visible, very clean, very sweet, very nice to look upon. So yeah, nice setup. There's this joy that comes when you spot that nice setup. You always want to see you have all of this confidence to put in those lot size to trade that stuff. Yeah, but when pumping the lot size, also take note of what risk management so you don't blow your account. There's no setup is 100% certain. So you see, same thing happened here. Price take out what? The internal liquidity. So you see, same thing we have been repeating: internal liquidity, external liquidity, market structure, structure shifts, and the rest of all of this stuff. You see, after price take out the 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 internal liquidity, you see we have what? A nice zone to trade off of. Isn't it? Yes, we actually have a nice zone to trade off of. And you see, after price take out what those liquidity, we see how we had what this internal structure shift here. You see, look at these guys. So you see price, we have what this nice change of character. Within this range, you see, we also have what microstructure, substructure, mini structure, whatever you want to name it. You see, we had what that structure shift, and you see how price came to mitigate this guy here. So we had all this mitigation here. This guy became what actually what the inducement. So you see how price created all the inducement for this guy. We had all this nice mitigation. It also gave a confirmation. Wow, what a sweet setup. What a sweet setup. See, we had all the mitigation and you see how price blast through to the downside. Hope you saw that. Hope you can see it. So we had all of that move to the downside, and we had what all of this what break of structure also to the downside. So we have what this break of structure to the what to the downside, and you see we got what a nice entry here. Fully, we have a nice entry here, a re-entry here. Like we already have, let's say, two positions running in huge profit. And to be sincere, I like to be logical with my stop loss. Sometimes I put it at 10 pips, sometimes I put it at 5. It just depends on the risk I'm willing to take. And yeah, we have what this nice entry here with our target to the what Asian low, isn't it? Which is about 1/100 pips, which is about 100 pips. Yeah. So you see, we have what this nice first entry here, then got this, then got the second entry here, which is around this guy here. So we got second entry here as well, with stop loss same at this level. And you see, we have two positions running. And you see what happened here, guys. You see, after the break of structure, you see, we had what this pullback, and you see our price take out the internal liquidity as well. We had what this change of character here. Look at this solely too, but it's the internal structure shifting after clearing out the liquidity. And you see how we see price came, our price come and mitigate what this guy here. And you see, we have what a third entry running in what profit. You see, and our target what the M50, the Asian what Asian low, isn't it? Yes. So we have three positions running in huge profit, nice risk to reward. And look at these guys after having what this break of structure here. You see our price. Okay, after having what this break of structure, see our price created all of this internal liquidity all along. You see our price came what mitigated this guy here, and we see what they push to the downside. So now let's be careful here now, isn't it? Yes. You see, after we had what this swing break of structure here, you see, after this pull back, you see pricing clear what any internal liquidity here. Instead, we just keep having what break of structure to the downside. And you see, for us to say we have cleared what the internal liquidity, this whole push here and this whole structure here was actually part of what this move here, which this tiny break of structure that we can see here. So this is actually what the internal structure. So you see, price came, mitigated it, then we had what this break of structure as well to the downside. So this becomes what the internal structure we want to see go, and this is what our swing high, and this is what the internal structure. So you see how I'm building this thing now. Following what market structure, there's nothing to complicate there. So you see before, and you see afterwards, we had this break of structure. And remember, we said price should what take out what the internal structure before any move to the downside. Remember, we said that, and this becomes what our what internal structure. Look at these guys. It becomes our internal structure because look at what I just explained here. You see, after we had this break of structure, we see we haven't gotten any pullback for this push to the downside. Rather, price pull back to mitigate what this guy, which is actually a break of structure from this area here, price mitigated it and pushed back down. So this becomes what, this is not our swing structure, but also the internal structure, because we have not gotten any pullback for the swing structure here, which is actually this guy that happened here. You understand what I'm trying to say now? So you see, this becomes what our internal structure, this becomes what the internal liquidity that we are watching out for. And you see how price came, took out what internal liquidity, and we see all of this nice, massive push to the downside, smashing what the Asian low. And you see, would have gotten what 4 entries, following what structure and liquidity. So this is a very, very nice strategy, guys, that I've just taught you. So you can actually go ahead and do what, back test this, see how you can build confidence around it. Because actually, I know we just did this theory and practical, and we can see that it's actually something nice that you can check out. But the thing is, if you don't do the back testing yourself or try things out yourself, you might not have that confidence to actually trade it. You understand? Because there's this joy of what actually testing what you have learned and seeing what its performance, because you can't just take my word for it. You understand? You have to try it for yourself, see how it works out, see how you can also do your own adjustment and stuff like that. And you can see this is actually a nice strategy that can actually what make you money. So this is just a simple one on liquidity, structure, and entry. So see you guys in the next video. If you're new, be here, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content like this. And I also have a Telegram channel where I actually drop trading setups. You might also be interested in that. That's just to what help with the learning process. It's actually a free Telegram channel where I post setups. So link in the description. You can check that out. So like, leave a comment, and subscribe if this is your first time. Cheers. Peace up.